Well, while Jordan's getting the deck ready, I'm going to try to make some lobster salad, lobster pasta, lobster and beans.
I was cleaning up that winch and one of the little springs broke. Here's our friends on Wavelength. Colin's gonna give us a tour of Pearson 424.
Yeah. You get to the top of the confused waves and then you look down and there's like this giant trough.
It's when they make you question your dreams.
Previously on Project Atticus.
After spending 3 years refitting our fixer-upper sailboat, we left the United States with only $2,000 and the goal of working while we cruised. We made it as far as Isla Mujeres, Mexico, before we ran out of money and had to find work. For the next year, we did freelance boat repair jobs until we saved up enough money to cast the lines and sail south to explore the Western Caribbean. Recently, we sailed to the western tip of Cuba, where we met up with our friends on SV Wavelength.
But these are our friends over here. We got Colin. We got Devin, his better-looking brother, and then we got Dawn Marie, Colin's wife.
Before sailing around Cabo San Antonio to explore the island's southern coast.
Morning. I got a couple of weather updates this morning. It looks like we're gonna be getting a cold front coming in tomorrow night. What we're thinking is tomorrow, with the light south winds, we will make it to an anchorage that is more or less due east of here, called Ensenada de los Barcos. It's got really good protection, especially to the north, so we'll be good for the cold front. In preparation for our sail the next day, I decided to disassemble our winches and grease them up because they were getting pretty tough to turn. I soon found that a spring that holds one of the pawls in place was broken, and that the metal from the broken spring was jamming the winch and causing it to turn poorly. Well, while Jordan's getting the deck ready, I'm going to cook up all of our lobster and try to make some lobster salad, lobster pasta, lobster curry, lobster and beans. I was cleaning up that winch and one of the little springs that like holds the pawl in place broke. Now I remember I bought some spare springs, so I'm gonna look in our inventory to see where they are, but I'm also crossing my fingers because these winches, you can't buy spare parts for them anymore, at least not that I know of, because they're super old. So I just got generic springs for like a Lumar winch or something. So fingers crossed they fit. So I'm just gonna type in winch. Okay, yeah, winch service kit. It's starboard set T, back forward, top left. Yep, there we go. So those are the springs right there. All right, yeah, cross your fingers. So you can see, here's the new one, and here's an old one. So it's definitely not exactly the same, but I think it may still work.
Looking good.
Purring like a kitten. So we're eating breakfast, having coffee, getting ready to go, and it's probably a little hard for you to see, but to the west and to the north we've got this sort of prefrontal, high altitude, like, you know, sheet of clouds. There's no squall line on the horizon or anything, but the winds aren't predicted to get even remotely strong until later tonight. But as we've learned, the forecasts, they can be pretty off. And I would have felt a lot better if this cloud wasn't here. here's our friends on Wavelength.
Let's just get there the rest of the way like this, you know? Got enough stories. What you got there, homie?
Got some lobster orzo pasta. Man, feels so spoiled. We're like underway, but like it feels like we're at anchor. We got all this awesome pre-made food. Just saw our friends. Goes back to that thing, you know? Today's one of those really good days. So you could say that like cruising takes away a lot of comforts that we would have in a normal lifestyle. But like you get these really odd luxuries, you know? Like eating lobster every day all day. And like having a beautiful view all the time. But then like, you know, do we have enough fresh water to shower all the time? No. We're kind of heading into this bay here, going just a little to the right of north. And so the northwest, north, and northeast winds, we should be really protected. After dropping the hook, our friend Colin from SV Wavelength came over to pick us up, inviting us to have dinner on their boat. What's going on, dude?
Oh man, I'm like in La La Land right now, I think. Yeah, I dozed off for maybe like 5 minutes or less.
Really?
And it was just enough to just totally disorient myself.
To just tease you, yeah.
And be like, where am I right now?
I hear ya.
Crazy.
And remind me, what kind of boat is Wavelength?
She's a Pearson 424.
Pearson 424. Right, cool. All right, Colin's gonna give us a tour of the Pearson 424.
You got it. Okay, so the V-berth got tossed a little bit on our most recent passage.
Yeah.
Books everywhere. Main salon. I kind of like how open it feels in here.
But I mean, that being said, they could always get
Table right down the middle. We're very thankful to a lot of previous owners who did a lot of upgrading on the boat. This faux leather is one of those things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah. Supple.
Right, Devin?
That's right. It's the finest leather money can buy.
The fridge is right here under the countertop. It's huge. That is a great question. It's very inefficient. It should be re-insulated.
Well, I do really dig your galley though. You know what I mean? Like I dig the like tight U galley where you got like a lot of space but not like a lot of space for you.
Yes.
Because when there's too much U space, it becomes worthless underway.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we love the galley, the whole configuration. This is one of my favorite features of the Pearson 424. This is the forward companionway. It really allows us to move around the boat freely. If I'm doing an engine project, Dawn Marie can do whatever she needs to do, and we don't have to rely on each other, you know, not being in our way. This is our head. We have the new Dolphin.
I guess I just don't remember your shower. That's really nice, man.
It's one of those big perks.
Yeah.
We love it. I love having a
Gosh,
shower.
do I fit in here? Oh, and there's even like a little...
There you go.
There, yeah! I dig that, man.
The aft cabin is another unique thing about the 424. Huge aft berth here. Huge by sailboat, old sailboat.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. You could easily fit 2 people there.
Our main companionway, we call this the doghouse. This lid just pops off and you slide this out and you've got access to our Beta 50.
Man, I dig the nav station. This whole like aft cabin is cool because when you're underway, you just don't go forward. I mean, I guess the galley.
We don't go past the galley when we're underway.
That's pretty cool.
We like the layout. The only downside, to me, like real downside, is a lack of storage. All this open space feels great and both of us can be in here and it's cool. But there's, you know, I think most boats would be carved up a little more with compartments and quarter berths and things like that. Big old cockpit, come see it. This was, I think by 1980 standards, was like the biggest cockpit you could possibly have.
It's very wide in particular, yeah.
She carries her beam fairly far aft.
So in other words, she's got a badonkadonk.
She's got a badonkadonk. She's a fat bottom girl and we like her just that way. Obviously the mizzen mast is right in the middle of the cockpit.
Yeah.
Which sometimes is not desirable, but you've got the same thing. I find that it's like something else to hold on to, something else to brace yourself with.
Yeah.
And the cockpit is open enough that it doesn't really seem to bother us.
And where do you stand with, you know, a catch rig now that you've had one for a while?
I like it a lot. I mean, I gotta say, like, we're not trying to break any records or win any races. That said, like, if we had a cutter, I think, or, you know, if we had the ability with a staysail and like an inner track to point a little higher, that would be useful sometimes, because there's a lot of times where if it's, you know, if it's less than 45 degrees off the wind, it just ain't happening.
Yeah, yeah.
But that said, we find we do a lot of like close reaching to broad reaching anyway.
Yeah.
So we do the Genoa and the mizzen together without the main a lot of times. If we're reaching and the wind's behind the beam significantly, we're better off without the main in terms of just less stress on the rig, and it seems to be fairly balanced, and our Jenny's not being shaded, and so we do a lot of that. And it's a short rig, like for just my wife and I, you know, just handling the sails themselves is not a big deal. Yeah, that's it. This is Wavelength. This is our beloved Pearson 424.
Nice one, man. Rock on. Well, thank you for the tour. Let's go eat some lobster.
Yeah, lobster risotto.
So, how is rounding Cabo? What is it? Cabo de los Corrientes?
Well, that's telling, huh?
Yeah.
Exactly.
We relearned that the capes of Western Cuba are not to be underestimated, and it was a doozy. Last night was a doozy.
Crazy, you know, seascape when you get to the top of the confused waves, and then you look down and there's like this giant trough, but it's not just like a neat, you know, line trough of what the swells. It's like this like hole, and then there are these other lumpy parts of the swell too.
In the trough.
Yeah, in the trough, and then back up, and you like get a glimpse of like what's ahead, and you see these like cresting waves on top of each other, and then you come back down and do another one, and it's like, oh god.
Yeah.
How long are we gonna do this?
Oh,
And some
man.
steep rides up.
Yeah.
And we only buried the bow a couple of times, but
Oh, that's scary.
after a couple hours of it, I'm starting to like hear things or look out there and see like things that you would normally see on a mountain, but you're in a boat.
On the bright side, like, at least you guys have, every time we get through some weird experience, we're like, well, at least our threshold for like being terrified has increased a little bit.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yes.
That bay literally looks like that north current just like goes up and gets like slingshotted around. That point right there probably has this narrow stream of water just shooting out. Yeah, it's so complicated. Yeah, it's so
And
complicated.
I think there's certain places, and I think there happens to be several of them in the Western Caribbean where those places are just to be respected, and we knew that bay, that whole cape. You know, no cruisers that we met have ever been like, you guys are gonna love rounding the western tip of Cuba. Dude, it's gonna be, oh, it's beautiful. You should see the huge waves when they break on that big bluff on Cabo Corrientes.
When they make you question your dreams.
Right. So I think pick up audio.
Alright. Oh. Hey bud, you're not feeling seasick or anything, right?
No, I was just saying, like, seasick, schmeesick, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's so calm. That'd be ridiculous to be seasick.
Like, I feel great.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Well, you look great.
That doesn't surprise me. I feel great. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to our channel by clicking here. And if you're already a huge fan of Project Atticus, consider becoming a patron right there. See you next week.